welcome to How To For You. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I am going to talk today about an e-bike that I just recently got and how stoked I am about getting e-bikes and going over the whole e-bike thing and kind of giving it a review and how to on setting this up and everything. So I ended up pulling the trigger on a Specialized Globe Haul ST. That ST stands for short tail, and this is a really awesome bike. I looked for so long, probably for a year or even more before I finally got this one, and this one is just an absolute beast. It is extremely powerful. The reviews on it were just wonderful, and I'm gonna definitely give it a review and talk more about it, but I will say right now I'm just gonna do the unboxing, kind of show the setup, and then go a little bit more into detail. This thing is absolutely massive. It came shipped on my front porch, but I am gonna show you how to undo it. So it looks like take these off here to start with, these little locks. It's really cool. It actually has like a bunch of stickers, but it shows you exactly where you should start. So I'm gonna take this box out here. And I guess this is like the guide. Kind of has like a little instruction booklet, and got our pedals here. Now these are plastic. Looks like it does have reflectors, and it does have this bell. It's pretty cool. It comes with. So got all this in there. It looks like finally you got that charger, which we'll definitely need to go over later. Let's move on to the other part. This is step 2. Looks like I probably just take that part off. And at this point, I'm just deconstructing it. So let's maybe take a look at the manual. I'm essentially trying to get this piece put up here. So you're then going to want to take this piece here, and it does come with this gasket cap, I guess you want to call it. You'll take that off. You want to make sure you loosen it here. And then this little O-ring piece that sits in here, it does have a hard time staying. So you'll want to take this and insert it over here like this. And if that's loose enough now, you should be able to insert that down, and you are going to want to go to the minimum line. I would just make sure it lines up and it's at a good spot for you. Probably going to be good for me to start with. I'm having trouble having this part stay on, so maybe I'll put it back on first and then put it back on. I think I'll do that. Put that plastic piece back on, and we insert it into the line. Make sure it's all lined up. And then the most important part is it says you're supposed to take this hex bit here, and now you're supposed to tighten it. You're only supposed to go 10 to 20 foot-pounds of torque. And the way it works is as you're torquing it, it'll show you the numbers. And that should be good. So now we'll take that hex bit again. We're gonna loosen these up. And now we're finally gonna take handlebar and insert that here. And just making sure we get it center there, smiley face being in the middle. So it does say with these to go to 10 foot-pound of torque. And as you're doing it too, just want you to know it can come forward and back. So I might be pushing these back a little bit. All right, so let's see how this feels. I kind of want it back a little bit. I think I'm gonna tighten it kind of right around there. You just have to feel it out yourself. Again, you just want to follow that torque. Make sure it goes to 10. It's really helpful to have this tool. So this is on, and it's in a nice kind of laid back position. So we'll move to the next part. Next, we're gonna do the pedals. They are coordinated to the side that they're on, so we're just gonna take these off here. We're gonna make sure that we got left on left, right on right. And then we're just gonna take the wrench that comes in the kit here, and we are going to just tighten these up here, like just as tight as you can get them. And we'll do the other side. Now the bike does come just like this, but I decided I wanted to really upgrade it to meet my lifestyle. So this is just a normal egg crate or milk crate, whatever you want to call it. I just happened to get this just off the street, and you know, they do sell panniers. This bike is meant to haul, again with the name, and it is meant to carry racks in the front and the back, but I just thought I'd throw this in the back and zip tie it. And that seat is pretty decent. You know, it's got some good cushion to it. I sat down, but for me, since it has no suspension, I did upgrade it to a super nice seat. And then the biggest thing of all, which I highly recommend everyone get, is the throttle. I know you have to pay extra. This is totally worth it, because that way you're actually using this kind of just like a vehicle where you don't even have to do anything. You can just have it go. So I'm gonna first start by showing how to attach that. And so the way that the throttle will work is you're just first gonna take this piece off here. This is the plastic piece. And then you are going to make sure to make these connections here. You are gonna make sure that there's the 3 prongs matching up exactly. These connect just like that. Put the thumb throttle first, then your controller, and then that way you have room for whatever here. So that's how you want to do that. All right, so we took off the seat. It was just hex bolt here. You had to twist. Then we're just gonna put this back on. I love the tools that Specialized sent, but my own personal tool is so much better. That looks badass, man. Now on this last one here, this is just my own customization, but you can get a rear rack, but I'm just gonna take this egg crate. Like I said, since the seat kind of seems to come up and down at an angle, I'm gonna make sure that it's just back enough, and then I'm gonna start zip tying it. So I'm gonna start positioning this here. Finally got my milk crate on for storage. Now this thing can hold up to 400 pounds, including the rider, which is insane. For me, that's enough to start with, but got that on pretty good. And now I'm just gonna do this bell here. Have it as far over. I do wish it came with an actual horn, but I guess a bell will do. Now, before I give it my first test ride, I am gonna just pump up these tires here. It does look like it says we need about 15 to 35 PSI. We'll try that. Alright, that was a workout, but I did get all my upgrades. So, I got the bucket here, or the milk crate. I did upgrade the seat, and again, I think that the seat that it comes with is fine. It's really nice, but since there's no suspension, I would just advise you get the most comfortable seat you can. This one has some pretty good shock absorbers on there, so I would recommend that. And then the most crucial thing is this throttle. So, let me tell you a little bit more about this bike before I start doing a test and all that, but I got this bike after searching for forever. Now, I wanted an e-bike, and e-bikes are big in my opinion. So this is my normal bike here, and it's big in terms of the size, but I mean, this thing is already massive, and this is considered kind of, you could say, a more compact e-bike. It's got the 20-inch wheels compared to a lot of e-bikes that have these bigger ones, and honestly, some of these e-bikes are just getting ridiculous. I mean, some of them are 100+ pounds. This one is around 78, I believe. And, you know, if you add, you know, a bunch of weight on here, it's a lot. So I really think that this bike is good for its size and doesn't have certain things like, you know, it doesn't have turn signals. I'm going to upgrade that. It didn't come with a suspension. It didn't come with a center LCD color display. It didn't come with a horn, but it does have a bell. So I'll give it kudos to that. And, you know, it doesn't have rear suspension, but overall, the thing that sold me on this bike was the reviews of how well this thing just rips. It will rip hills. It will destroy hills. The battery, super powerful. The motor, super powerful. I just wanted to say that this bike is just insane. I think it's the reason why it's the ultimate bike. It really speaks for itself, and I do really believe that even though this is a very expensive bike, you get what you pay for, as the saying goes, you know? I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, that's ridiculous. You're spending so much money, but you know what? This bike, especially by the company, I believe will stand by it. In 5 years from now, something happens, when most of these e-bike companies are out of business or they don't make the parts anymore, this bike will still last. UL certified battery, super reliable. I love the way it looks. They had a different color option, but I think this one is just the absolute best. So I'm gonna actually do a little bit more on some riding, and we'll come back and check out the rest of it. Okay, so I have my bike here, and here's the issue that I've been noticing is that the rotor is either bent or it's been scraping because the brake caliper is not aligned correctly. There is a mark here, like here, as you can see, and it was making a really horrible noise, and it's not making it anymore, but when I still turn, it makes that noise. So I will show you exactly what that sounds like. I'll try to hold my camera and do this at the same time. I don't know what happened, and I would like this to get fixed. All right, so I just got off the phone with Specialized, and they said that there's a couple of troubleshoots that I can do, actually really just one, which is to try to attempt to take off this back axle slightly and then retighten it. I'm gonna try to do that, but then there's also a bike shop nearby that they said that would be able to cover the cost of this. So in order to do that, I'm going to take this off. And he said to put it on the ground so the pressure is on the wheel, and then you'll just take your bolt here, and then you're just gonna slightly maybe remove it and then tighten it back up. And he said possibly that could fix it. So I'm gonna try that, see if that somehow fixed it. Then I'm gonna head to this bike shop. Unfortunately, that didn't work. I am gonna try to loosen the other side and just see if I can get it to get fixed. And if not, heading to the bike shop. All right, so I'm at the bike shop, and this bike shop did absolutely nothing. They just told me I should go somewhere else. I should try to book an appointment for far in the future, or I should try to fix it myself. So we're gonna go home and we're gonna try to fix it ourselves, because I think we can get this, because it did help a little bit from what they told me on phone support. So see you back at home. All right, so we're gonna try this again, and from what I looked up online, we're gonna try to loosen these two caliper bolts. We're gonna then close down on the brakes, and then we're gonna slightly retighten it. Put it on the ground. And tighten the bolt, loosen these, and I'm gonna tighten them back. Just want to make sure I don't hear any sort of grinding noise. So let me go out for a ride now and see if I can hear anything. Alright, so it's too tight and it's grinding even more. So I'm going to hold it and loosen it. I'm actually going to try what I did earlier. Loosen this, tried moving around a little bit, and make sure that the rotor has much play. Let's give it another try here. It's still the same. Let's try that. That might have fixed it. Woohoo! Alright, success. So I was able to get it to work. And I do wish I had it on camera, but I had to use like all 4 of my limbs. It was super hard for one person. What happened was, you want to loosen these 2 bolts. And again, you want to loosen them, and then you just want to... I was actually holding onto the brake lever, so I had my left hand on the brake lever, and then I was having this leaned over where my knee was pushing on this brake caliper to push it as when I had loosened these bolts. Then I tightened them here, and I was actually using my right hand to hold the bike as well as my left leg to make me stable. So literally every single one of my limbs was like being used in order to make this happen, but it looks like the scratching noise has gone away, which is awesome. So yes, if this ever happens, you can do it yourself. And I just want to make sure that everything here is just slightly tightened up, just because I don't want this to ever happen again. That was super annoying. And yeah, the manufacturer, I did have a phone call with Specialized. They said that they just admit fault to it, probably a shipping error where something may have gotten misaligned in the shipping. The thing comes and it weighs like 120 pounds, so it's ridiculously heavy. But let's go over now the specs and show you all the cool features. So once you've built your bike, you're gonna want to come to your screen here, and you're gonna wanna press the center button. So you'll press that for a second and it'll turn on. And there's a few features you should look at here. So this is gonna be your speedometer. This is your pedal assist. This is your odometer, and you can click the middle one again. It goes to your distance, and it goes to your range. You also have your light and your battery indicator. And so a few cool tricks I wanted to show you was, I am up on the kickstand right now, but you have the throttle feature, and then what you also can do is you can toggle through the pedal assist there. So there's all the modes of 1 through 5. Now the light is currently on, but in order to turn it on and off, you hold the top switch, and then if you want to put it back on, you just hold it again. And then if you go to your right here, you'll see underneath the bell, there's your bell, there's actually a light switch. So we come to the front here, it defaults on the low, but you can go through the settings and there's all the different settings. Really super handy to have at night. Depending on how much you use, I wouldn't ever use the very super bright light, because you're gonna actually go through that battery so much faster. So during the day, I just turn it off, but at night, definitely you should have it. And then a super, super cool feature that, you know, I didn't know was that when you pop your bike off the kickstand, so as you can see, I'm kind of on a sloped driveway and this thing weighs a lot. It's almost 80 pounds. But if you hold the bottom button, you'll see a walk feature, and it's the walk feature. So you can literally go up the hill and it'll help you get up the hill. Now, it's not gonna motor you through, and I wouldn't use the throttle. It's definitely super efficient, and I would highly recommend using the walk feature. All right. So, before I got started on some rides and I was gonna show exactly what this bike can do, I did want to turn on the bike here. And then I did want to see that there is a USB port here on the side. Essentially, you just take this rubber gasket off. It is a normal USB type, and let's just see if this works on my phone. So yeah, it seems to be working pretty well. But yeah, let's get some riding footage in. So right here, I set up my speed GPS app, and I decided to see how fast I could get it. It's really hard to get it exactly up to 28, but you can usually get it like up to around that. So I did a run right here and I got about around 26. So that was on pedal assist 5. So here's me just using the throttle only. It will only go up to 20 miles an hour, but I use it a lot, and I primarily see that 20 miles an hour is perfectly fine. It's really great for just launching you right off the line. Like, let's say you come to a stop sign here, and you know, with a lot of e-bikes, if you have to pedal, that's really difficult. But if you're just like hitting the throttle, it gets you going, and then you start pedaling, and it's like right now I'm going up a hill and I'm already got that momentum. So I just feel like the throttle is super essential and super great. So I went out to a different section of the city where it was a lot of flat roads just so I could get another high-speed run in. I ended up turning on the light just now just because it's getting towards dusk. But yeah, I can get a pretty good run in on flat roads. You still can't quite hit exactly like 29, but you can usually teeter around 28 miles an hour. So I'm playing a lot with the pedal assists here and just seeing how fast it can go. You can get to 28, it's just you really gotta give it the energy. Usually when you go downhill, you can go above that 28 miles an hour, but mostly you're gonna have to really give it like a lot of energy like I'm doing here. And this was the point in which I wanted to cut the pedal assist to 0, just to see what, you know, human powered could give an e-bike. And I'm not gonna lie, you know, trying to really get this thing up to speed was pretty difficult. So if you run out of battery on these things, there's not much you can do. If you're on flat roads, you can go pretty fast, but going up hills is going to be quite a challenge. So I'm just trying it out here just to give you an idea of what it would be like if you had no battery left. And yeah, you'll probably go maybe 15 miles an hour. So here's the point in the video where I really want to show what these lights can do and show how well they work. I mean, the lights are just absolutely fantastic. There's so many different banks that you can program them to. And so I'm just doing a little trail here near where I live, and I decided to put it on a pretty higher level. And I'm just cruising through this trail, and I'm just blown away at just how unbelievably bright they are. I mean, I'm sure that they cut into the battery life if you put it on a high setting, but I just wanted to show you exactly just how bright they are. I mean, I've done it in pitch black, and it's just mind-blowing. So the lights on this bike are just absolutely great.
Now, one of the last couple things I do want to go over before I end this video is I do want to talk about attaching an AirTag to the bike. So if it ever gets stolen, you know where to get it. And if you saw one of my earlier videos, you knew how to detach the speaker on this so that if someone gets the bike, they can't use their device to activate the speaker on it. So definitely check that out. And I'm going to show you how to install this on here. So I have this AirTag, and I did get this specific AirTag holder here, and it does come with a wire, and the way it works on the seat was this was the only place I'd pretty much be able to find to hold it without it being completely hidden. Some people have talked about putting in metal casings, and that just blocks the signal in the range. So I'm just gonna snake up this wire here to start. I'm just gonna come out and around here, and then I'm gonna latch it in here. And I'm gonna lock this in place. And then now I am gonna take some gaff tape, because if this is up underneath, it'll obviously show that it's an AirTag. We wanna make it as conspicuous as possible. I'm just gonna take a big old piece here, rip it off. I'm gonna go all the way around. That way it's just completely blacked out. And then I'm gonna take the AirTag, and we are just going to push it up under here, and then I'm just gonna zip tie it down. Make sure it doesn't move, and then we're gonna cut it and make sure that it's secure. And then I'm gonna try to push this up again, just so it doesn't look like there's really anything there or you would ever really notice. And I feel like that's about as good as I can hide it. So as you can see, it's up underneath there. But when you're looking at it from far away, you'd never really be able to know that there was an AirTag in there. And again, speaker being taken out, no one would really be able to know. So that's a good thing I would work on. The next thing I do want to talk about with this bike is when you first start it up, the throttle does not work. So you're gonna need to access that in the app. And I do want to kind of give you a quick couple of tips on how that works. So what you're gonna need to do is you are gonna need to get the specialized app. You're gonna turn on your bike, and you're gonna wanna sync everything. You're gonna wanna log in, create an account, and then you're gonna wanna connect it. Now, what I will say is the first time you turn it on, I had problems with getting the throttle to work. So what you gotta do is you gotta go in here into settings, bike settings, and then you gotta make sure that throttle activation is turned on there. Now, sometimes it didn't work. So like the very first time I tried it, it didn't work. So what I did was I deleted the app, reinstalled it, turned back on all the settings, and then that way it was able to then activate the throttle. So I would say do that if you're having problems. If not, leave a comment below. I could probably walk you through a couple other things, but I definitely had problems myself, and you should definitely get the app and set that up because you're gonna need that throttle to work. So, all right, everyone, this is everything on the Globe Haul ST. I think it's a really, really great bike. I appreciate you watching this video here with me. I will say I was really disappointed about that brake rotor being like that and how that happened. I think it just moved through the first couple of rides, but I was able to fix it, and I would definitely say, you know, overall, this is an amazing bike. There could be some better upgrades that they really should have thought of for the price point, like a front suspension or a rear suspension, but I would highly advise upgrading it for the seat, adding a basket, definitely add that throttle. And then, yeah, I think other than that, though, it's pretty amazing. It should last a long time. You know, they just think of so many cool things. Like, I wanted to show you, too. Like, so this is plastic here, these fenders. But here, check this out. When you go over curbs, this is rubber. And it's just, like, so smart the way they thought of that. Because it's like they know if you're coming off a curb and you hit that, and if it was plastic, it would just break. So the fact that that's rubber means they really know and they think about exactly like the perfect utility and usefulness of this bike. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really appreciate you watching. I'm gonna crank out a lot more videos to come. Please like and subscribe.